we're all talking about October 7th and this war, but it's not a war. It's an illegal occupation. This is you are framing.
So we're getting back to the point I asked.
Yeah.
How do we solve this? Because
this is how we solve it.
Basically
this is how we solve it, sir. We have to frame it correctly.
How do we do that?
By talking about what it is. It's an illegal occupation. It's an apartheid. Would you agree it's an apartheid state, sir?
No,
you wouldn't agree.
Because Israeli Arabs are High Court judges and put Israeli politicians in prison.
Okay, did you know that the Israeli Arabs that you're mentioning also have to go by a military judiciary system as opposed to what civilians have to use in Israel?
You
didn't know that exactly.
They serve in the army. Muslims serve in the Israeli army.
Did you know recently a woman just got arrested?
Down.
Let me speak. A woman got arrested recently, an Israeli Arab, She got arrested for speaking in a WhatsApp group, positively speaking about the Palestinians, right? And she got arrested. Do you call that a democracy?
But she was anti-Israel, this woman.
Let Henry speak.
I have negotiated ceasefires, okay, and between some very antagonistic parties, and every time one or other or both parties want to go back and say, well, this is the problem and they're to blame and this is the issue and we've got to solve that before we can... No. Because if you go back to address that, you straight away go straight back into the argument that caused the thing in the first place.
Yeah.
What you actually have to do is say both sides want to sort this out sincerely. And in this case, I don't think they do at this stage. And then you can go. Then you can go and talk about these things in a sane, sensible, and calm, rational manner.
Okay.
If you don't, if you go straight into these things, then actually you build the situation worse, and you've blown a chance for a potential talk. So that's the reality of it. And what you're doing at the moment, if I may say, is you're going straight into that argument rather than saying to the principal, we're going to have to stop fighting if there's going to be peace. It's not we're going to have to talk and then we'll stop fighting. If you do that, then you will fail, and the war will continue. And Israel.
So what you're saying, Henry, is stop fighting, then we'll talk.
But that's never possible.
The hostages have to be released as well.
On both sides, I agree.
That's never possible when one or other or both parties have the perceived need to continue fighting, which Israel does, and so does Hamas.
Let me ask you this question.
Why did you point at me when you said Hamas there?
Hamas is the army of the Palestinians in a way, isn't it?
It's the government of Gaza.
Can we all shush please a minute and keep out? I mean, you would condemn Hamas. You already have.
I've done so on live TV. Yes.
Yeah. So they are the people behind the Palestinians, holding the Palestinians in a really difficult situation.
Okay, may I please let me just go before someone cuts me off. I haven't had a chance to speak. I've been here 25 minutes. Right, guys.
I think it's 15.
No, it's quite true. So look, here's the thing, right? You've got to see it like this. If you were the Palestinians and... So let's not forget, by the way, the context here. Netanyahu propped up Hamas. Would you agree?
No.
You wouldn't agree that...
Would you?
You wouldn't agree that Netanyahu propped up Hamas.
I'm not sure what happened
there. They spent money on... They gave money to Hamas, guys. Let's not be...
We supported Bin Laden. We supported Bin Laden.
Right, that's how that ended. That's how that ended.
Israel has kept Gaza going. That's true.
Okay, I can't even get a sentence out, guys.
Yeah, come on.
So look... The Palestinians are I know, but the Palestinians are in such a bad position, right, that they've been lumped in with Hamas, right? Like you just did.
Hamas pulled them in.
Jeez, bro, please give me a break. This guy, are you professional or not?
No.
If we, hey,
look,
if we carry on like this, it'll end up in a mess.
Listen, let me speak, please.
Hamas is shooting them.
No, just answer the question.
Is this accredited media, right? So I should have a chance to speak, right?
You've had an enormous chance to speak.
Your producer just stopped us in the break and said I haven't had a chance to speak, bro. Your producer just said that.
Back off the microphone.
Yeah, but you interrupt me every 4 seconds. Look, this is the truth. I'm going to speak the truth, and you guys won't let me.
We can't.
The Palestinians don't have a choice, bro. They are being slaughtered.
Listen.
Do you understand that, brother? They're dying. No, by Israel, bro.
Stop now.
Think about it.
Move back from the microphone because we can't hear what you're saying.
No, bro. This is ridiculous.
Can you stop using the language? It doesn't help your cause at all.
Hamas.
You be quiet. Sorry to all those listeners.
You know what you're doing is so unfair, right? What you've just done...
Could you shut up a minute?
You've allowed me a chance to speak, and then you've interrupted.
You've got to back away. Come in as the producer and say what has to be done.
Can I speak? Can I just
speak?
But you've got to push your chair back.
All right,
you're making it, and you be quiet.
The Palestinians Hamas, guys. It's so.
I haven't done that.
No, will you stop it? Just don't answer.
So do you think that I'm crazy and I'm just making stuff up?
No, listen. Can I get it because I've lost, and we'll come back to you, Henry.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm losing. I'm actually losing the thread here. So you be quiet for a minute, and I'll come to you, all three of you, when it's your chance to talk. So, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what, in your view, can be done to stop... we've already condemned Hamas as being...
I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll stop making people that are trying to bring light to a humanitarian issue, and then when they come onto their show...
But how are they doing that? Don't have a go at me.
Let me speak. You're not letting me speak, bro.
I am, but don't go and have a go at me.
Guys at home, have I been able to finish one sentence?
Yeah, get on with it. Well, you asked a question. Right.
How are we going to achieve peace?
Look at how you speak to me.
We're asking you, how can we get peace?
You don't let me answer.
Well, I'm asking you, can we get peace?
Okay, so this is what we'll do. We'll disband dishonest media and people that what they try to do, as in they're looking at the producer like, oh, cut him off.
Hamas and IDF don't care about the media.
Do you think Hamas is on my phone, bro? Like, what is this? Do you think I can just speak to them?
I say Israel and Hamas don't care about the media.
The Palestinians are dying, right? I'm not Hamas. I'm English, bro.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying the two sides are Hamas and Israel. They're not going to agree.
No. That's not the two sides. The two sides are the Palestinians and Israel, and Hamas are a fringe, like they're
government of Gaza. They're the government of Gaza.
They don't have a choice. The Palestinians have a choice
from the microphone,
but the Nazis did in Germany. I mean, that's how it works.
Ash, will you shut up for a minute? I need to know what then can be done to bring these two sides together. If Israel was to give the land they'd taken in the Six-Day War back, would that suffice for peace? Would Hamas back off? And would that suffice for peace?
I mean, I'm not a politician, brother. I can't answer that question. All I can do is it's humanitarian.
Yeah, I know, but you've got to answer.
How can you ask me? Would Hamas be okay? Am I Hamas, bro? What does that mean?
But you just said the way to.
Let me ask him. Yo, Hamas. Would you mind if we got some land?
You just said the way to peace is through the media.
You're now doing this.
What is this?
You're now doing this to get more clicks.
Yeah, you got me. You got me. I need more views.
Yeah. So what is the answer to this? Henry, I'm trying to get an answer. Yeah. Could you help me here?
Yeah, I think possibly. Look, there needs to be a third-party involvement here.
What's the UN for?
Well, that's exactly it. What I would say is, at some point, there's got to be an end to the fighting. And then that's got to be stabilised. And I would say that one of the things that surprised me is that we've not seen senior international statesmen going around and saying, look, what's going to end up happening here is the United Nations should take up a transitional administration, should run Gaza until there is a settlement as such. As the government, there is no need for Hamas. It's a transitional administration, and they will prepare the way for a democratic set of elections, etc. And potentially an Arab, and I'm thinking not full Arab, but Jordanian, Egyptian, UAE perhaps, security force, police, not military, policing force, which removes the need for the Palestinians in Gaza to have their own armed security element. So that way you've taken some of the sting out of the tail on both sides. There's not the threat to Israel, there's not the threat to the Palestinians in Gaza. And that gives space then for talks. But right now, very sadly, tragically, and nobody can lecture me about the horrors of war, which I have seen far too many times and very up close and personal. The tragedy is that people on both sides, and I wish both sides would recognise this, are dying. Innocent people are caught up in this, are dying and are suffering. I forget the numbers, it's not about the numbers, it is about that fact. And that's a tragedy. But very sadly, that's going to have to play out until the time is right when you can actually throw in that sort of that brokerage type of deal, because it won't happen, Henry, whilst everything is as heated and passionate.
You've made a great point, and I would now like to get your response to Henry, because you were nodding in agreement. You will shush. I will. I'd like to hear your response to that.
I respect you massively, sir. I actually feel like you're the voice of reason in this room. I'm going to apologise. I'm sorry if you feel like I've been rude to you, but
I don't at all.
Okay,
you get passionate. That's fine.
It's passionate, but if I'm not getting a fair shake, that's what you're going to get. He's given me a fair shake, so I'm not being rude to him. I'm being very respectful. And what I think you just done is actually offer a solution that could potentially work, sir. There is a chance that if we were to install I don't know, if we had look, they've already killed how many UN people that work at the UN have died in the last month. How many? It's over 50, right? Something crazy. So if we did have the UN in there and they could be protected and no bombing is happening on the Palestinian or Israeli side, maybe we could reach some kind of, maybe even a two-state solution, maybe a one-state solution, I don't know. But right now, kids are dying.
But where we are, what should Israel have done on October the 7th? How should they have reacted?
I think that's a great question, and the answer to that question would be, if Hamas had tunnels in Israel and they were in the Israeli hospitals, would they use the same approach? Answer fairly for once today. Would they use the same approach, yes or no?
I don't know what you're
Answer the question.
I don't know what you're
If Hamas was in Israel, in Israeli hospitals, would they use the same approach with carpet bombing, yes or no?
Well, there's Israeli hostages in the Hamas tunnels and they're bombing it. Yes, they would.
So you think that they would carpet bomb Israel and flatten it?
They're not carpet bombing. They're not carpet
They're
bombing.
not.
No.
So it's
the
number 4 most intelligent army in the world can't aim and are killing 10,000 civilians.
They're very precise.
Let's go back to Henry. Enough. Let's go back to Henry and just get the answer to that. Are they carpet bombing or not?
I do have concerns about the way that the Israelis are targeting. That sounds like a bit of a technical sort of response, but I've done targeting for both in Afghanistan and during the Cold War, targeting planning. We didn't actually target anybody in the Soviet Union. We didn't hit them. And that's quite an intensive intelligence and operational task. And I can't quite see that the Israelis have got the capacity to do things with the finesse that we would do.
They kill less. We killed 3-1 innocent people to terrorists in Iran and 5-1 in Afghanistan.
Right,
Israel is a lot lower proportion than that.
But the question,
I look at the
that's actually right.
I'm just saying I've got some concerns. Okay, I'm sitting here in London. I'm not sitting down in an Israeli sort of command centre looking at it. So I don't know. I would, if I was Anthony Blinken, I would be wanting to look at that. That's all I'll say on that. But the thing is, if you are going to have a ceasefire or a sustainable peace and a follow-on solution, then the elements of this that that are fundamentally an obstacle include Hamas. Partly because of the very public statements that Hamas have said about the Jewish state. And so Hamas have to step aside. There is no if, there is no but, and if they don't step aside, then the only way of doing that is for Israel to destroy any capability Hamas has of waging any form of war. And that is what Israel is now presently doing. Again, tragically, Hamas is embedded in the local civilian population. So what do you do? There are civilians going to be caught up in that.
Let me just come back to you. Will Palestinians accept their own state and live? If they didn't have the problems going on at the moment and everything else we're talking about, could they live peacefully with those people in Israel? Could this be done in the future?
The Palestinians are the most beautiful, resilient people that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I mean, listen, there is extremism, of course, but if you're to go through what happens to people in an occupation, terror is going to be born. We know it's part and parcel. Occupation and terror hold hands, right? So for you to just flat out blame all of Palestine, can they live like normal humans?
I'm asking you a question.
I'm not saying you, sir. I'm not saying you, sir.
What I'm saying is, how do we
live in peace?
No, I know, but how do we get to the peace? Because the Israelis.
What do we do with Ireland? What do we do with the Republic of Ireland, sir?
Jewish people at the moment are living in fear in this country.
So are the Arabs.
But wouldn't it be better if Egypt took control of Gaza and it just became part of Egypt?
No, it wouldn't.
Could I just say, one of the elements that I forgot to mention in this sort of UN scenario, your transitional administration, is that you're going to have the mother of all peace and reconciliation programs to deal with that, because there are people on both sides who have been traumatized by this, people on both sides who are not going to forget it, people on both sides who have hatred in their belly, and that has to be dealt with. I think if you can do that, then yes, there is the potential for the Palestinian people, if you remove the fiery, the extremist Islamic or political elements,
which they're educated from like 3 years old.
But if you can remove those influences and you can build this peace and reconciliation, then I think that's the only way forward. And actually, that's one of the things. I know you've been on the protests today, and I think there are various elements in those protests. But one of the elements that I think is the trigger for the problems here, and the tension that's arisen here, is that there are elements there. And I'm sorry, I don't know you. I don't know whether you're part of it or where you fit in this. But there are definitely pro-Hamas elements. There are definitely people out there calling for the annihilation of Israel.
But
there are definitely people who are anti-Semitic, and they need to be out of it, because otherwise there is no sympathy in Britain for it.
And the posters, a lot of people are calling, from the river to the sea, and people are discussing...
Well, what do you think about that?
Just a minute. And then they're calling, talking about, well, jihad doesn't mean this, it perhaps means that. Douglas Murray, who's over there in Israel, the other... In fact, I think he's over there at the moment. He thinks that everybody who protests are anti-Semitic.
Well, the vast
would you agree with that?
You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know. I just want to hear you say it, really.
So, the chant from the river... I actually interviewed a Jewish man today, and I asked him about the chant. I said, do you think it means the eradication of all Israelis? And he said, no, of course not. There are Palestinians in between the Jordanian River and the sea, and they must be free.
But it does mean that. And also, even if you think it doesn't, you know the Jewish population and majority do think it means that, so why would you continue with it?
Etymology is an amazing thing. Do you remember the word retard is offensive? Do you know what it means? To slow. We still use a fire retardant.
You're right, but
etymology, it's offensive to the Jewish population,
of course,
and they're taking it as a... So why are you carrying on doing it?
Let me ask, is the Jewish guy that was singing it... Wait, hold on.
I need to know what you think it is.
If the Jewish guy at the march that I asked the question to on camera, that I'm going to post tomorrow, is he anti-Semitic?
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are. Normally the ones that do that are.
But what do you think it means?
Self-hating Jews.
Well, I just explained it. I think from the river to the sea, there are Palestinians under an illegal occupation. Can we agree?
No.
You don't want to use the word illegal, right? Okay, under an occupation that's legal, even though every criminal court said it's illegal.
What does it mean?
Illegal occupation, bro. Apartheid for the last 75 years.
Right, but then we get into the situation, and I'm going back to my previous point. If you start...
Do you hate Arabs? Is that what it is? Do you think the Palestinians deserve to be in a genocide?
There's a lot of Arabs.
So why is it every time I speak, bro, you've got some little sarky little comment in the background. Bro, this is a genocide happening to people that are innocent. The Palestinians... I love the Palestinian people. How dare you try and put them down like that,
do you love the Jewish people too?
Of course I do. My best friends are Jewish and Israeli. My video that I dropped yesterday, what was it? It's a pro-Jew video. It's denouncing all anti-Semitism.
You've got to take
your research on me if you're going to get at me for anti-Semitism, bro.
I'm not saying
my best friends are Jewish and Israeli, and they message me privately.
Why are you getting so upset about that?
Because every single time I speak, look, just play the show back when we're done and do a counter. Someone on YouTube, do a counter of how many times this guy's got.
But you're picking on him.
That's the answer to your question. Because it's him that's interrupting, bro. My family are dying, and you won't let me speak without being sarcastic. He wants the Jew. Why do you think that song's not right, bro? Do you think I'm a racist, brother?
No,
honestly.
I'm saying my point was, the Jewish people do think it's that, and a lot of people do mean.
And what about the Jewish people that don't think it's that?
Well, it's a very small minority of idiots.
Do you think that the Jewish people that don't think it's racist are idiots? You see, this man on live TV just called them idiots.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Listen, they're idiots.
They're self-hating idiots. Yeah.
Look, the problem here is
that's exactly what
that you're standing up.
Are you not embarrassed?
Are you not
embarrassed to have him sat on your show with you?
Because I'm more embarrassed.
You're embarrassed. I'm the good one. Great reply. Really smart.
You're really.
Look at you. You're going crazy. You are flipping out. That's why I thought you were a comedian.
Guys, I'm a comedian loud next to you, bro. Because you've been the voice of reason. But you're a donkey.
You need to take the heat out of what you're saying.
He's a fucking instigator.
You're not Henry.
You're not getting your point across.
I can't because he's interrupting.
No, you were getting on well in the news.
You can't because you got too fiery, and that I understand.
Henry is a peace negotiator.
I'm not able to shut up. Whatever I say,
you just get very emotional.
Right. Bro, my family are dying, bro. I'm sorry, I'm emotional. My people are being genocided, and you're trying to undermine me at every opportunity. Even now, as I'm trying to tell you what's happening.
Hey,
this is warfare.
This guy's talking over your guests.
1,000.
Why are you here?
I can talk over. I've worked on this show for 20 years.
Guys,
I often talk over guests.
I understand, but look, if you
undermine genocide,
get your point, you've got.
There's no genocide.
You can either get your point.
Hamas tried a genocide.
I don't think there's a genocide and ethnic cleansing happening.
They could do a genocide in a couple of days if they wanted to.
Should we go and have a cup of coffee?
They could carpet beer.
You should be ashamed of yourself, bro.
Hamas tried to do a genocide, but they can't.
You'd be
Israel
singing a different tune. You know that. Okay, so the million people that walked today in the march, are they all crazy? Are they all?
But hold on, Israel could do a genocide in a day.
Quite frankly,
Hamas would, but they can't.
Could they really get away with it?
Guys,
like you say.
Wake up, bro.
Take a break. We're cutting this off. finish the interview.
Get him off here.
We can't break.
I can't break anyway. But you losing your temper like this is not doing. But it's not doing your cause any good.
Why is someone antagonising? He's an agent. He's a provocateur.
What you must understand, if you forgive me, is that there are a lot of people out there who wonder why there are rallying cries, call them what you will, used by the pro-Palestinian protests that are taken by the Jews and by many people in the UK who are not Jews and not part of this as being provocative. Now, if you want to, if the protesters want to take the heat out of this and get their meaning across, then they're going to have to use different phraseology. I heard somebody else say that what that phrase meant was justice to the Palestinians. Okay, well, if that's what it means, if that's what you want to say it, and then you take the flame out of it. Okay. And I think that what I was saying earlier is that there are different elements of this. There are people who are purely concerned about the humanitarian cost and the people getting caught up in, and I get that. Then there are people who are genuinely and perhaps deeply anti-Jewish and anti-Israeli and anti-Semitic. Then you've got Palestinian nationalists, and then you've got an element that I think is important to recognise, which is the socialists in the UK who are funding a lot of this, organising a lot of it, and turning up at the protests and providing a lot of the aggravation, because they've got their own political agenda here. And I find it interesting that, I don't know whether the Palestinians are being consulted on this, but when people are carrying placards from the Socialist Party of Great Britain that says freedom for Palestine for a socialist intifada, I wonder whether that's being discussed in the Gaza.
It's not really helping the situation.
But so there's these different elements, and what's needed is a clear, rational presentation of the concern. The thing is, there are different concerns. Yeah.
Can I just point out, by the way, look how civil our conversation is compared to.
Well, you're being civil with him.
Yeah, because he's not an idiot like you.
But you're shouting like mad to Ash.
You're quite nasty when you talk to me, and quite civil with Henry.
Okay, listen. If you were respectful to me, I'd be respectful back.
I have been. I've been totally respectful.
Before you two start again,
I just disagree with you. That's not being disrespectful.
You've been rude this whole time, bro. You know you have. Don't be disingenuous.
I've not been disrespectful.
You've tried to undermine me at every possibility, bro. You know you have.
Well, that's the debate. If I disagree with you,
you've got 30 seconds to
I just want to have a debate.
Why Jewish people have been put down for so long.
I can't speak about it for all Jewish people.
You can, because you're Jewish, you can speak about it, and why the two sides cannot. I'm not going to interrupt you. You're going to have your say.
Basically, what's happened is Goubran Bahou said it. If Israel put down their weapons, there'd be a massacre, and if the Palestinians put down their weapons, there'd be peace.
You really think so? You think the last 75 years has been peaceful, sir?
That's because they haven't put down their weapons.
Oh, right, so they should just accept illegal...
Well, they did get total freedom, didn't they, when they pulled out?
Just let me know so I can tell my family. I'm going to go, so accept apartheid, accept ethnic cleansing, accept... it's not apartheid. Again, we're having this discussion.
We gave the whole land back, and they just fired rockets into Israel.
Listen, there was a famous... poet called Ghassan Kanafi, and he said, "Oh, they took our bread and they gave us crumbs and they asked us to be grateful. Oh, the audacity!"
They gave you the whole freedom of God. You could have made it into the Singapore of the Middle East.
Don't misrepresent.
I'm not. That's actually what happened,
bro. You're misrepresenting what the Palestinians were given, and you know you are. There's a reason why every single charity organisation, every human rights organisation that there you go. Cut me off right before I get there.
Listen, you can't have. I'm sorry, bro. But you just can't.
But you
had a go at me, and I didn't even cut you off. He cut you off, and you had a go at me.
What you do to me. Ask the question.
Listen.
So anyway, you see how annoying that is, bro? You don't even get a chance to speak.
You get violent like that with me again.
Violent?
That is violent.
Call the police. Someone call the police, because I was really violent to this guy.
Why
Give me a break.
don't you just go away?
I'll get out of here, no problem, bro. I'm sorry, if you don't want to be fair, it's fine.
Why are you saying it to me again?
Because you're the one that started the beef. You're the one that started the beef,
not me. Yeah, you see, you've got a problem, haven't you?
I was violent towards you, right? Can we call security? This man has just experienced violence.
Just go.
If you want to give a fair platform to people to come speak, then they can come speak. But if you want to villainise someone that's coming with a message of peace, you villainise me as if I'm a bad guy.
Nobody's villainising.
I know I'm
not. You're not a bad guy.
You are just talking.
I'm upset, bro, because you think I'm talking crap.
Why are you so threatening? Why are you? You're being threatening.
I'm sat across the table, bro. What have I done?
You're shouting.
I'm Hamas. I'm going to get you.
Deranged.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you got me. I'm crazy.
If we're going to a break, there's something I'd like to say. Look, you're upset. There are a lot of people in this country who are upset. I was in tears earlier because I went to the cenotaph with my young stepson, and to show him the cenotaph. It's surrounded by coppers. Okay, the whole place is protected. That monument is a monument to people who gave their lives to protect this country, and now we are in London protecting their monument, the monument to their memory. And you know what? I can talk rationally, I always try, and I try to listen. But at the end of the day, I am absolutely seething that monument has to be protected. It has to be protected from some elements of the pro-Palestinian marches. I saw them today, and the police were putting a ring of steel up to stop them doing it. Okay, there were others on the right who were doing it today. Nobody should have been marching and protesting today or tomorrow unless they were involved in an Armistice Day or a Remembrance Day event. And you get upset, but actually this conflict is being brought to the streets of Great Britain, and we don't want it. We don't want this fire in us. That's why Ash and other people, it's not just here, get really upset. No, I'm going to finish, okay? Get very upset. You are losing all the sympathy from ordinary, quiet Brits because of exactly what I saw this evening at the cenotaph. And it is so sad. It is so tragic. And you know what? It's making people angry, and it's going to get worse.
I agree.
If the fire isn't taken out of it. And so you guys, and I say you, pro-Palestinian, I get all your emotions, but for God's sake, if you are not nationalists, if you're not Hamas terrorists,
I've got 30 seconds before they go to a break. Automatically, I have
the same
no
for the
choice.
right.
I just want a little response.
Sorry, I got it.
You said you agreed, yet you've been,
Guys, there's been no violence at any of these protests for the last 4 weeks. There hasn't.
That's not correct. I've got it on video on here.
Okay.
That's not correct.
Okay.